on return sets if he lost a little bit then further up the field from those efforts. But Wigan were far better both defensively and attacking in the 20s, so they defended their own line much better. Salford's first 2 tries were kind of fluky in that one of them was a kick play that got covered up by Wigan, or blocked by Wigan, should I say. It bounced back to another player who then put another kick in, and the Wigan centre, Gildart, wasn't able to gather it because he sort of collided with Manfredi, and Dobson was just luckily on the spot to put it down. And the second one was a high bomb, the one high bomb in the game that Tompkins didn't go for. He was faultless after that point and before that point on kicks, but there was one that he allowed to bounce, and then what happened is Dan Sargentson failed to take the ball on the bounce, and Salford again picked it up, Dobson was on hand to take Kopchak's offload and score. Wigan worked a couple of good tries, probably a little bit more well worked than some of the Salford efforts, but both teams were tough, but Wigan, like I say, were probably a little bit better in defensive execution on their own line and in attacking execution on the Salford line, which is kind of the reverse of what happened in this game a year ago when Salford beat Wigan at home over the Easter fixtures. Individually, Josh Charnley, 3 tries, 122 metres, 2 clean breaks. Dan Sargentson with 2 try assists, 8 tackle busts, 154 metres. George Williams enjoying his return to the side, 2 try assists, both clever little kicks close to the line, and 109 metres. And then I'm putting Tauli Matautai in this rundown because his numbers say he should be in there. I mean, I'll get on to my point about Tauli Matautai on Owen's review, actually, because I've read ahead to that. But Tauli Matautai, in the positive, made 5 tackle busts and 124 metres. For Salford Red Devils, Justin Carney had 8 tackle busts, 197 metres, 2 clean breaks. Josh Jones had 1 try, 11 tackle busts, 110 metres, and Daniel Vido had a try and 115 metres. Michael Dobson, who actually left the field injured midway through the game, and that kind of did have an impact on Salford's attack, and it was kind of nice to see the opposition with only 1 half-back, than the Wigan with only 1 half-back, the amount of times I've had to watch that so far this year. But Michael Dobson did grab those 2 tries, so good effort by him.
Did Tompkins do something to upset the Salford fans? There's a lot of abuse from on Twitter.
For who, sorry?
For Sam Tompkins.
Yeah, well, that's one of the reviews from Tracy. She said, my thoughts on the game. Just 1. Sam Tompkins thinks he's bigger than the game, needs to play and keep his mouth shut. I asked Owen what this might have been in reference to, because it must have happened up the other end of the pitch and I didn't really notice. And I think Mark, Mark Hogan, he was getting in touch with us today. Happy birthday for Mark. But I believe from his Twitter handle, it might be his 30th, because he's got an 86 on the end of his Twitter handle, as Mark Hogan. So if it's his 30th, happy birthday. If it's not, happy birthday just the same. But anyway, he was sort of mentioning the same sort of thing about when there was the referee not calling time off at the end of the game, towards the end of the game, more than as much as the Salford fans wanted it. I think Sam Tompkins was getting the bulk of the blame for that. After one of the tries, the Wigan players were still under the post getting berated for how fucking clueless they were trying to close the game out by making errors, and someone needed to step up and have a go at them for that, and I think it was possibly Tompkins who did. But the Salford fans' impression of that event, of that turn of events, is that Wigan were delaying the restart, and the referee should have called time off sooner. What the referee actually did is what the rules tell you to do, which is they have to wait till the touch judges are in position. Once all officials are in position, time off gets called. That's what happened, but because the Wigan fans were still sort of congregated under their own sticks when the touch judges were halfway back to their spots, the crowd obviously took to that thinking the ref should blow time off. And I get that. That's how it always happens in close games when you're the team that's behind. You always feel like the other team are a bunch of knobheads for delaying the game, and but when you're the team that's ahead, I guess you don't feel that way, and I think that's just how it fell on this game. And probably because Sam was maybe the most responsible in terms of being a leader, he gets the criticism from the away fans, and he's a noticeable target anyway. People hate him because he's so fucking good.
Yeah, true.
But anyway, I didn't see exactly the full ins and outs of that because I was down the other end of the stadium, like I say, I think, to what they must have been having a go at. And I can understand the gripe with it, because that's what you get from all fans, like I say. So, fair enough. I'm sure I'd have been the same if it was, convicted spousal abuse or Robert Louis who was delaying time or hurt anyone on their side if it was the other way around. So Paul Marshall, he said, both teams played some good stuff, but neither put in an 80-minute performance. Jones is class for Salford. They look a lot better than recent years. Sam T has added maturity to his game. Wigan winning the hard way. Not sure how Carney was man of the match. Yeah, that must have been the home sponsors. He was quite destructive, like I say. But if I was the home sponsors, I'd be going straight to Josh Jones's door with the man of the match award on this game. Tracy, yeah, we've covered Tracy's off. So thanks for getting in touch there, Tracy. If you want to add more colour to what you saw Sam Tompkins doing wrong, feel free to do so. That'd be cool. Rob from Devil in the Detail podcast, check those guys out if you're a Salford fan or if your team's coming up against Salford. They also talk about their upcoming and previous games quite a lot through their feeds, so check those out, guys. Rob said it was a brave performance by Salford. Both teams went for it and it was a good game. 2 critical moments in the game, a massive Matty Smith dropout which went dead in Salford's goal, and Wigan scored off the next set, and Michael Dobson injured towards the end, so Salford lacked direction at crucial times. Still happy with the performance. Yeah, Matty Smith, it was a 20-metre dropout. Michael Dobson had missed a very kickable penalty, and so Wigan got off the hook basically from that. And then the 20-metre dropout, the pitch was quite firm at Salford. The 20-metre dropout went over Robert Louis' head and ran all the way dead in goal. It was remarkable.
Jesus.
And then... Sorry?
Must have been a firm track.
I think it was pretty firm. A lot of kicks skipped on a little bit, dead. They bounced forwards rather than like helpful for the team a lot of the time, for both teams a lot of the time. Owen Hughes, he said, enjoyed that. Chuffed we only lost to Wigan by 3 points. Thought it would be more. Tautai destroyed us, but the story of the game for me was team play and resilience showed by both teams and lacking in both teams at different points in the game. Great to meet Mark, though. Yeah, I echo that, Owen. It was great to meet you. On Talima Tautai, right? He says he destroyed them. I've come up with my theory on Talima Tautai this year. He is the most destructive player in Super League. But that's in every sense of being destructive, both of the opposition and of himself and his own team. So he did.
Time bomb, surely.
Yeah, I mean, it's too much of a risk to have on the field close to the end of a game. It's just, that's the be-all and end-all of it. And I've praised him quite a lot this year, as you know, compared to how I was ready to show him the door last year. I thought he offered very little. But, the offload he tried to make to Sam Powell before Salford's comeback happened with it. But I bet it was about 12 minutes to go, 11 minutes to go, and he tried to throw a ball that was never on. And it just went from bad to worse for Wigan from there, really. But even just before that, he'd given away a penalty for not square at marker. That was so blatant. It was right in front of us as well. And I just couldn't believe he was so stupid as to do it. But yeah, we've probably... touched on all that enough, so we have one final review in here that made the cut-off. Sorry for Mark Hogan, his didn't make the cut-off, but I'm sure he'll get them in earlier next week. But Dixon Mikey MD said, it was a cracking game last night, from Wigan taking the lead to going behind to going 2 tries in front. Then for Salford to reply with 2 late tries of their own, set up a nervy finish for Wigan, who were just about hanging on. Salford, in my opinion, made some dumb decisions that changed the game in Wigan's favour. There was also, in terms of the dumb things that Salford did that shot themselves in the foot, that missed penalty goal I talked about, there was also a penalty kick for touch that Robert Louis missed. The touchline on Don Manfredi was able to bat it back inside, and then Don Manfredi, the running the ball, is always dangerous. He won about 3 penalties, I think, off his kick returns in this game. He was dangerous. In fact, there was an incident where I'd say Robert Louis should have been sent off, or sin-binned at least, the high tackle he put on Don Manfredi, which he ran across the field and proper clotheslined him. And it did feel like it was deliberate to stop the play on that. But, it was just a penalty and a ticking off in the end, and it didn't affect the result. And I'm not going to criticise the officials too much on that count, because like I say, and at Salford you don't really feel like you get a great view of things unless you're sat high up in the main stand. So, maybe I didn't have the best of view of that incident as much as I didn't have the best of view of whatever Sam Tompkins was doing to piss off the fans so much.
Yeah, that's an even-handed way of looking at it.
Yeah, Salford certainly were dangerous. They just weren't clinical. So, I hope for their sakes they win the remaining 2 home games of the season, and I'm sure they've got other wins in them. Moving on to a team, though, that I'm just not seeing where the wins are going to come from.
This was absolute garbage, wasn't it?
I didn't watch it at all, Tom. I didn't bother. I thought, what's the point? I wasn't even aware that St Helens had scored until...
Mark. I was like, well, it's either watch box set stuff off Sky or watch the last 20 minutes of this, but I did tune in. I stuck St Helens and Warrington out.
Right, well, it was 26-4 to St Helens, and to be completely honest with you, Tom, I didn't even realise St Helens had scored a try until I was putting the rundown together.
No, it was absolutely woeful. The thing that I took from this is that, first of all, St Helens are utterly toothless and clueless in attack at the moment. They absolutely camped on Warrington 20 in that first half. I'd love to know what the stat was. I'd love to see the territory stats on this. But they were camped on Warrington's line, and they had repeat stat after repeat stat, and they were hammering at Warrington, and they had nothing. Warrington just absorbed everything, and it wasn't like Warrington were even having to work particularly hard because Saints weren't asking any challenging offensive questions of this Warrington defence. So I don't know if it's that Warrington defended particularly well, and that's what meant Saints kept. But it went from this barrage of Saints attack to Warrington seemingly winning the ball off an error and then just jogging down the field and scoring, and then repeats. So Saints would get the ball back up towards the Warrington 20, start hammering on the door again, have absolutely nothing in the locker offensively, which you can kind of understand if they're missing Luke Walsh and Wilkins having to fill in, and there are mitigating factors in that, but I don't see that having Luke Walsh in the side would have necessarily changed the results so much, but they just seemed utterly woeful. And Warrington would just trot downfield and score a try like it weren't no thing, and that was the story of the game really. And then by kind of 50 minutes, you knew watching it that it was over as a competition, and Wire were just by far the superior side in this one. Yeah,
I mean, is it a positive for Saints that they conceded less than 30 points?
No, it's not a positive mark. They scored up 4, and I don't think Warrington got out of fucking second. Look, Chris Vanderbilt is a player that we're all going to really rate and like. His first try, where he just sort of dropped the shoulder a little bit, and I forget which Saints player ran back on the inside of, but that's fucking Pennine League. That was terrible defence, and it should not be allowed to stroll over.
Yeah, you don't get like that. You don't get that much space in a Nines game, do you? Let alone a 13-a-side Super League game.
I think I could have scored that try with ball in at that point. That's how poor Saints were. No, I think Warrington had won this almost immediately, almost getting off the coach. They were better prepared. They're on a better run. They're a better coached outfit at the moment. They're better drilled. They're certainly more than a match for Saints in terms of defending their own line. It's hilarious, really, just how poor Saints have become.
I mean, we've talked a lot about how bad Saints were and how good Warrington was, but I think the thing that I really want to understand about what happened in this game is what happened in the post-match press conferences, because on Saturday night, I'm not sure if you're aware, but Kieran Cunningham was inducted to the St Helens Hall of Fame, obviously as a player, but how positive was he about... How positive was he about how the team probably didn't? The scoreline doesn't reflect the effort that was shown, and was that the kind of shit he came out of again?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think he said he was more than pleased at one point. It was, I mean, look, what do you do? Kieran Cunningham is on such a sticky wicket, and he's on a hiding to nothing. He's obviously not. Whether it's that he's a bad coach or whether it's that he's not getting the best out of this particular turd that he's been left to polish, I don't know. I'm inclined to think he's not the greatest coach in the world. But he's got a point and challenge because there's a statue of him as a player outside the ground, and he is synonymous with everything that was successful about St Helens for such a long period of time that unless he suddenly delivers 8 trophies in 10 years, he's not lived up to his billing as being Kieran Cunningham, the brand, inverted commas.
Yeah, but Tom surely just has to do an half-decent job of getting a team out on the field